Hello guys, so it's been a while since my last video and I wanted to touch base with the community and kind of give you guys an update on what I've been working with. So as you guys know, in January I embarked on an experiment which was very expensive. I spent like almost $2,000 in blood tests to see what would happen if I changed my diet from a general omnivorous diet to steak and butter diet. And long story short, you can check out that video, but a lot of positive changes in my blood health. Even my thyroid health. However, I didn't feel quite right. Something felt off because I'd done that diet in the past and I felt much better. So I did more digging and I found that I had potentially a mycotoxin illness due to mold exposure when I was on vacation in Costa Rica. So there's a lot of black mold in the Airbnb that I stayed at, and even some of my friends had symptoms and failed their VCS, which is a visual contrast sensitivity test. And actually, I could probably show you the VCS test as well, just so you guys can see the progress there. But there's a test that you can do to find out if you do have mold toxicity. The easiest is a visual contrast sensitivity test, which shows you essentially, here it's showing you that I have a negative test, and this is after a month on the protocol. So I took cholestyramine, which binds to bile and then removes the mycotoxin from your small intestine. This test measures it measures neuroinflammation, a proxy for it at least, because it shows you a circle and lines, and the lines are gray, and there's white in between the gray, and the more neuroinflammation you have, the less you can distinguish between the gray contrast. So you have to determine which direction the gray lines are facing, either this way, that way. So the better you do, the less likely you have mold toxicity. And it seems that this test is actually extremely accurate. So that was surprising to me, but there's also blood tests and genetic tests you can do to see your susceptibility to whether you're able to naturally detoxify mold and other mycotoxins. Having said that, so I definitely had a CIRS, and I've been working on that. But one thing I also noticed is that I have low vitamin D, and I stumbled upon something called the Coimbra protocol, which entails giving people who are vitamin D resistant very high doses of vitamin D. When I say very high, I mean like 100,000. In some cases, I've seen 200,000 IUs per day, which is insane if you consider a prescription dose of vitamin D is 50,000 per week, once a week, right? So nonetheless, being a crazy person that I am, I actually did embark on the Coimbra protocol while I'm working on these things. I wanted to show you guys some of the labs that I've been doing and some of the things I've been doing to test and kind of measure my progress. So here, this is a test for MARCoNS. MARCoNS are multiple antibiotic resistant coag negative staph, and they basically live in your sinuses. And it's a common marker for biotoxin illness because the biotoxins release these bacteria, I guess, and they live in your sinus. So once you remove the actual mycotoxin, you have to then eradicate the MARCoNS from your sinuses. However, for me, I had Staph Aureus, which is a different bacteria that prevents the growth of MARCoNS. So this $85 lab test that I did showed that I have Staph Aureus. They couldn't even tell if I have MARCoNS until I get rid of it. In order to save money, I actually bought my own mannitol salt, and not malt, because I made that mistake, mannitol salt augers, and I was able to kind of incubate my own Staph Aureus for my own nasal swabs and see whether I'm progressing or not. So this has been really helpful. Now, in terms of my vitamin D, right now I went from 10,000 IUs a day to 50 to 80 to now 100,000 IUs a day. After being on 100,000 IUs a day, my parathyroid hormone went from 34 to 18. And people on the Coimbra protocol are actually trying to not minimize completely, but be just under the reference range. So I'm on track here. And I know the biggest potential cause for concern is hypercalcemia. But here you can see my calcium hasn't actually moved whatsoever between these two results. And it's been a month from 629 to 81. So exactly 31 days or whatever. So that's what I'm doing now. And it seems to be working out in terms of at least quantitatively. It does take a long time, so we'll see what happens, and I'll record another video pretty soon, hopefully.